Very good evening to all the participants. And of course, today we have our guest, rather the guest of the month, Dr. Bala Ramani, and well interviewed by Dr. Rajnish Tiwari. Wednesday Dialogue Series is a shoot of thought actually with some people, of course. One is Dr. Bala Ramani also, and others like Rajnish Bhai, that during Corona period, we were not having any physical events. And in such a scenario, it was difficult to keep in touch with the Indian diaspora, the friends of India, and people at large. It provided an opportunity for us to get connected, to have webinars, which was normal nowadays in the Corona period, and as a very new normal as the word goes by. Then why not we thought that bring some personalities at fore who has done wonderfully well for the society, for the Indian diaspora, and for the place here in Germany as a whole. And it started in August. Of course, at that time it was in an infantile stage. It was a thought which has to be put in executed. Then Dr. Ramani said that, sir, why don't you start with? So the first personality of the month. So it was like like drumming your own or blowing your own trumpet. So I was the first personality of the month in August. It started way back in August this year on 12th August, and then later on we had others who joined us, Julian Yarika Sen, Mr. Subhash Chopra, and Amrita Nalikar. And today we have our very well-known face, a social worker, down-to-earth fellow, unassuming one, but a personality who has done so much for the students, who has done so much for the Indian diaspora, and a Gandhian to the core. He believes in simplicity. He believes that the work itself should tell about you. I know Rajnishji, and I want to tell the participant also that it was really difficult to make him agree that instead of you interviewing, you should also be one of the interviewee. He was so shy, but ultimately we pushed to switch the chairs and go to the other side and tell about him, how the simplicity works. He started his life here in this alien land, Germany. He came as a student, did his master's, did his PhD, and then he started working here. He became German, of course, but that is a passport. By heart, he remains Indian. He remains a global citizen. He remains a compassionate heart. He thinks about the others all the time. His diaspora and the Indian student are, whenever he does anything, he always think about and put India in the first place. Whenever he does that, India's image, India's tricolor should be flown. Whenever I go to Hannover, I meet either the top Lord Mayor or any minister or dignitary, or even a small diaspora gathering. It is always a privilege on the way when I'm in the car from Hamburg to Hannover to just talk to him. And he, like my mom, he always ensured that, sir, whether you started, where are you safe, have you reached safely? Huh? It reminds me of my mom, who, like when I used to start from Delhi or Jaipur to my hometown, then mobile days, she will call, and before that, she will always has a concern that whether I reached at the destination. And even when the event is over and when I'm going home, he will always have a message that, sir, please let me know you will reach safely. That is the concern. This concern is not only for me as a friend, as a Consul General, but he has this concern for everyone. That was his human side. Otherwise, because of his social work, which has been recognized to the fore, he initiated the Indian Association in Hannover way back in 2009 or 11. I'm just not remember exactly the date, but He was a founder member of ISS, and then today he is also in the political arena in Germany, which is important for the diaspora also, because we can have a say there in the parliament, in the mayor's office, in the places where normally Indians do not barge in. They just can, think about themselves, and they do their bureaucratic job. They concentrate on their job or business, but they feel that going to the political arena is wasting the time. No, but to get yourself heard, it is also necessary. So he has been there, done it. And to my friend, Dr. Bala Ramani, I don't know whether we have this much interaction later on, of course, personally, but at a public forum, I don't know, this may be probably the last interaction when the participants, so many participants are there. I'm so happy that there are already 40 participants have already joined in, and there will be many more to join. That shows your popularity. And this is also on live, so many must be watching on YouTube also. So without much ado, I think I hand over the charge to Rajnish ji, because if I say everything which, if I keep on saying it, it will take the whole interview time. So I give this charge to Rajnish ji. Please take over, and let's have a sneak preview in the life, in the deeds of Dr. Bala Ramani, which are not known to public, and we are eager to know that. And thank you, Dr. Bala Ramani, for agreeing to for this interview, and thank you, Rajnish ji, for being there for us and being a sport, immediately agreeing, pushing aside your other engagements and agreeing at a very short notice. So thank you very much, and we look forward to a great evening, a great insight into Dr. Bala Ramani. And I once again welcome all the participants. Thank you very much. Let's have a very fascinating another 1.5 hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Raigar Saab, for this great introduction and pointing out also how interesting it is for all of us to get Bala once on the front stage and not just remaining in the background and discussing with others. And you have already introduced Bala with some words, and I think you have also already pointed out that it's so interesting to see so many people from around the world joining this event today. So I am really glad to do it, and let me begin with this, the formal part. So dear Raigar ji, Honorable Consul General of India in Hamburg, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a truly warm welcome to all of you on this cold November evening from Hamburg. I'm indeed really excited to see so many people joining us today via Zoom and YouTube for today's episode of the Wednesday Dialogue series, initiated by the Consulate General of India in Hamburg. I can see many familiar and quite a few unfamiliar names and faces here that have joined us not only from the northern part of Germany, which is the jurisdiction area of the Consulate General of Hamburg, but from all around the world on a working day from very, very different time zones. And that shows that today's episode is very special in some ways. And before I state the obvious, why this is very special, let me briefly just introduce myself for those who do not know me. My name is Rajnish Tiwari. In my primary profession, I work and teach and research at the Hamburg University of Technology, also known as TU Hamburg. And in a voluntary capacity, I head the Hamburg chapter of German-Indian Roundtable, in which I have also co-established the India Week Hamburg, which is a biennial event of a very successful series of events related to India, together with the City of Hamburg and many other partner institutions. So that's briefly about me, and I will come back to that part why I thought it would be interesting to tell that. So I said just a few seconds or a minute ago that today's episode is very special from my perspective. And for that, let me go down the memory lane about 10 years back. The then Consul General, Mrs. Subhashini, by the way, also a very active and inspiring person herself, she called me up about 10 years back one day and said, please do come to the consulate on a particular day. And she said, I want to introduce you to a very agile, a very dynamic and highly motivated young person from Hannover. And I think if you two meet, you can do a lot of work together. Because I was already involved with the German-Indian Roundtable and I was organizing the India Week Hamburg. She said, you must meet this young man. And I said, okay, I'm really glad, I'll join you. And when I went there to the consulate, and Bala would hopefully remember, then again, to my pleasant surprise, because sometimes, like people are introduced, but then you say, okay, it was nice, but it's not really that way. But in Bala's case, it was, if at all, an understatement. The sympathy, the dynamism, the activity of Bala that made a lasting impression on me. And since then, we have worked on countless occasions together and also developed a personal friendship. So it has been a privilege for me to come and join here and to interview Bala. So it is my really my privilege, ladies and gentlemen, that this person whom I'm interviewing and whom Mrs. Subhashini introduced me at, that there was none other than Dr. Balasubramanian Ramani, personality of the month for us today, and the person whom most of us simply know as Bala or Bala Ramani, because he's so unassuming. He is not coming up with his titles and what work he is doing. So, Malai Vanakkam Bala Bhai, we are privileged to have you here today with us. On the other side of the discussion table, as Raigar ji already said, that you have been a part of this series. You initiated this series together with Raigar ji, but you are always on the back side. And I'm glad that we could convince you with popular demand to come once on the front stage. And you see by the number of people that have joined us from so many different places that it was absolutely the right decision. So that you come and share some insights from your very fascinating work and life today with us. So before I move on to the actual interview, please allow me to formally introduce Dr. Ramani to those of you who would be watching this interview maybe afterwards on YouTube, maybe even 5 years down the line. So please allow me that. Dr. Balasubramanian Ramani was born in Kalancheri, a small village in the Tanjavur district of Tamil Nadu, which is famous for its temples, arts, and the Kaveri river delta, also giving it the nickname of being a rice bowl. After his bachelor's in zoology with a gold medal from the Bharatidasan University, he did a master's in marine biology from the Annamalai University, where he again topped the university and also secured the Best Student Project Award from the Tamil Nadu State Council of Science and Technology. His doctorate brought him to Germany, where he completed his PhD in marine botany from the Leibniz University of Hannover with a scholarship from the government of Lower Saxony. His research articles have been published in many reputed international journals, which significantly contributed to the Indo-German collaborative research on marine plant biology. He was inspired by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's words, the first Home Minister of India, who said, "My only desire is that India should be a good producer and no one should be hungry, shedding tears for food in our country." Bala initiated and established the Young Professionals Platform for Agricultural Research, in short YPARD, in 2005 by securing a funding from the Swiss government's Agency for Development and Cooperation. He traveled in that connection to about 36 countries and created a platform to motivate young professionals for addressing global agricultural issues, and successfully negotiated with the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 2010 to integrate YPARD in that organization. Presently, Bala is serving as an advisor and regional coordinator of India relations at the Leibniz University of Hannover, connecting German and Indian students as well as academics. Thereby, he is playing a significant role in strengthening the ties between India and Germany in the field of science and technology. He has served as a director at the Center for Modern Indian Studies and at the German Research Center for Comparative Vocational Education and Training at the University of Cologne. He has also served as a member of the board at the Paris-based World Association of Young Scientists between 2005 and 9. In 2009, he founded the Indian Academic Society at the Leibniz University of Hannover and the Indian Association Hannover in 2011 to address the social, cultural, and educational needs of the Indian diaspora and to promote the rich cultural heritage of India in and around Hannover. In 2015, Dr. Ramani created a platform for Indian students in Germany called ISG, which has been officially endorsed by the Embassy of India in Berlin. Drawing a lifelong inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi, he was instrumental in the installation of Mahatma Gandhi's bust at a prominent location in Hannover city, sponsored by the Government of India. The Gandhi bust was ceremoniously unveiled by Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Prime Minister of India, in April 2015. In connection with this event, Dr. Ramani also conceived and organized the first ever Indian Cultural Week in collaboration with the City of Hannover. He was elected as councillor and member of the City Council for Hannover Central Constituency in September 2016. He is serving as the chairman of SPD in Hannover Central Constituency since November 2016. He is also an elected member of the Committee of International Affairs, Europe, and International Integration for the City of Hannover since November 2017. So you see, he has done so much work. You have to cut so many things away because otherwise it would take so much time just introducing him. Ladies and gentlemen, this impressive list of personal achievements and societal contributions, both personal achievements and societal contributions, already indicate the multifaceted and dynamic nature of his inspiring personality. And I truly look forward to discussing with him this evening about his life and his work. Because despite being his friend for a long time, it has been very rare to get him having free time where he is having the freedom to discuss about his personal life. He is always busy with so many works. So Bala, I'm really looking forward to this talk with you today, where I also hope to get some more personal insights for myself. Before proceeding, just one technical detail. The format of this series calls for interactive sessions, and keeping that in mind, after every 15 or 20 minutes, we will open the floor to the audience to ask questions directly to Dr. Ramani and also to make comments. You can make comments on Zoom via chat or also on YouTube, and we will take care that these things are read and then really put forth to Dr. Ramani. So Bala, now finally comes the moment for which everyone has been waiting, and once more a hearty welcome. And my first and a very pressing question from my point of view. We have seen what you have done in your profile. You are an educationalist, a social worker, and a politician. Each of these works, in my opinion, demands more than a full-time job attention. I cannot manage but asking myself, how does Bala manage to do all this work within the only 24 hours that one has in a day? So do you have a special clock for yourself with more hours than 24 hours in a day?
Mike, Bala.
You have to unmute, Bala.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks very much, Rajnish Bhaiji. Thanks a lot, Honorable Consul General, sir. It's just overwhelming. I still feel I'm not sure whether I should be here. This is the right thing, but I'm here today, and thanks a lot for everyone from all around the world. Deep respects to you and love that some at the early morning in your country and some around late in the night, and so almost from every continent. So I think it's something which I'm very blessed with, to have so many good and well-wishers and really pure hearts that has been there. So I'm really, really thankful to God for being at this place today. Rajnish Bhaiji, so with respect to time, I believe that whatever that gives happiness to you, I think one can always find time. I do not know, I don't have any empirical research on that to really prove that that is the truth, but at least I can say, certainly my only indicator in life is that when I go to bed, within 2-3 minutes, I should sleep. And I think if I have done that, then that day, certainly I have not done anything that certainly is not convincing to me, or something that has hurt me in one or other way. So I think that's the indicator I have been following for a long time, and even following today. So with that, I feel one has to really feel something inside and feel happy about anything they do. If that is the case, I'm sure one can find time. But of course, I agree with you. My due respect and love to, after marriage, to my better half, Priyanka, because something is very important when you have to do so many public service and many other things, then that support is absolutely crucial. So hats off to her, and without which certainly a lot of things could not have happened. And before, of course, you did have all the time as a bachelor, so many more things obviously is possible. Even you don't have to come home at certain point of time, so that is always there. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bala. And then since you already talked or mentioned a bit about your family, this is one thing which I would have really loved to know a bit more about, and this would have been my next question. Can you share with us your some memories of your childhood, how you grew up, how was the life like that in when you were growing up in Tanjavur?
I'll try my best. Tanjavur itself, when I speak that word itself, I'm just, it's an kind of a feeling that cannot be actually said. I think that will be for every one of us, the place we are born and we are grown up, and we still today, when I go home or go through from the airport to my village, it's something which is a very, very special feeling. And I have certainly memories which one thing was my very early life. I think today, if I'm having so much of happiness in meeting people, and I would not say I'm doing some service, but I'm pretty sure it gives me happiness. So I'm with people. So I think that's what I would like to say. And it has been, I think, one of the very memorable thing is, I think this quality has come to me from my uncle. He's in the village. He was the head of the village, and also managing our school, which has been 100 years old in 2019. So I think he was also a politician, and he was actually somebody who everybody looked at with great respect. He was there for everyone. I think probably that is something that has caught me also, even at that early age, and it continues till today. Other than that, enjoying was the taking bath in the Kaveri River. And of course, these days, unfortunately, due to human carelessness, the rivers are more or less drying. So at times there are water, but not much. But those are very pleasant times. And then Tanjavur per se, the love of language obviously is still there. Whenever I go there, the time to speak the language, which time to time you miss being here. And the great food, of course, that's always there, because in our place it's there. It's very special. So I think those are some special things for me, which is always there. And my school times, I mean, still I'm very closely in touch with all my school friends from the nursery school till to the 12th class in my village, and also later in the town. So whenever I go to India, I meet with them, and many of them are there, and those memories. So yeah, I think I would say that this is something you will never forget. Your early childhood, which is something very special, which etched in your heart as much as you are there.
Sorry, what was your favorite sport? You like to play something in your childhood?
I think two things were there, but obviously, like almost, I think 90% of the Indian, I also played cricket. My hero was and is always the great Kapil Dev. So he's a legend who I followed, and I was also a pace bowler. Because of him, I also went there. Yeah, I could have become actually a cricketer today, unless that my parents had another aspiration, which I think 2-3 weeks I didn't speak to them, because I was playing for the state level at the under 13. Actually, I was about to be selected, and it was 8th class, I think, and a quarterly exam or half yearly exam, and my parents were not happy that I missed the exam and go for selection trials. So they cleverly sent me to my aunt's house for sleeping, because it's just over the corner. And so when the selector and the very close friend who was managing that, he came to my home in the night and pleaded with my parents, please allow Bala to join the selection. He's very talented and we really need him. Yeah, basically they decided not to do it. And next day morning, I realized that, I was kind of cheated. I can say that. And I felt very, very sad. And long time I was not speaking to them. But anyway, that's history. But probably if that would have been, maybe, you never know, maybe today I would be on the other side, probably playing the popular sport.
Mm-hmm. So maybe we probably missed a great cricket player for the Indian national team. And who knows, maybe this is our good fortune that we are able to have you here today and to interview with us. Who knows, if you would have been playing somewhere cricket, then we would not have come to know you. So maybe fate has something in store which is good for all. But that incident reminds me of something. I believe in India, traditionally the focus was very much on education. Like in Hindi, in India, in North India, people used to say, "Padhoge, likhoge, banoge nawab, kheloge, kudoge, hoge kharab." You will get spoiled by playing, and if you go on doing reading and all that stuff, then that's how you will make your career. So do you think, now I'm coming back to some more serious topic, do you think that also being an educationalist, that we are moving now maybe finally in a good direction with our new education policy, where we say that it's the composite development of personality which is more important than just learning by heart, rote learning, trying to get good marks alone? What would be your view on that?
Let's put it this way. I think one thing I always believed is that whatever amount of information an individual possess, based on that, decisions were made. Even today, I feel that, because some parents, if they decide that sport is good, then probably they are sports persons, or they have a knowledge or in a place where they felt that it is equally important, like education or arts or paint, whatever it could be. It need not be sports. But there probably are otherwise, maybe there are who do not, but they have seen only education is the only thing that takes them out of poverty, that takes their whole generation to a place where they have not been. Probably they all said it's only education, rest all is not good. But also one has to say, in our country, our country is one unique country. India cannot be compared with anyone for many reasons. It has its own history, it has its complexity, and people from outside hardly can understand, irrespective of whatever media or whatever you can hear. When you have to born and live there, then you understand the complexity, where how people take the decision per se. And with the education, I think still I feel India is an young country. We are going to celebrate very soon 75 years of independence. That means it's a very young country, but we have come such a long way in respect of this complexity because of our own nature of diversity, which is very, very important. But then the education policy per se, I think, as far as I have understood and I have interacted with the experts, certainly it goes in the right direction. Many of the things, obviously, like any policy, there are certain things which probably people think other way, but to my knowledge, there are aspects which popularly goes in the direction where people say education is not just about classroom, it's about human personality development as a whole. This is not something new, but this is now put into a perspective of an official document where the policy has to, the institution has to come around with that policy. And also, I think internationalization is something that is being now central, because India has given the world many things from Nalanda age, which we all know. And so I think now it's the right time also to say that this is something we have to move forward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Bala. One more final personal question from me right now. I was having a look at your profile and saw you were a gold medalist at bachelor's, a university topper at master's, and this is so full of different awards and honors that you have got for your personal achievements. Was it always like that? I presume that you were a very much working on merit and a meritorious student throughout. How was it?
Unfortunately not. I think probably my CV is deceiving in a lot of ways. I have never been actually a student who comes home regularly and sits at the desk and studying. I mean, probably my mother or sister could tell stories how difficult for them actually to really make me sit, because I'm most of the time outside. Even like now, I have been always trying to be with my friends and people outside rather than being at home. And actually, to be very honest, I would not even passed my 12th class actually. That's the reality. And actually, I just passed in my mathematics. Mathematics is my subject. I think after 10th, somehow, probably it doesn't come to me. I do not know for whatever reason. Till 10th, it was still okay. But 11th and 12th, somehow, something that is one subject that has always been for me. And yeah, something of, I don't know, how can one can explain, you know? So, but anyway, I thought, to be very honest, I would not really pass my 12th class. Actually, I was not having any hope. I didn't even go to see my results on that day. And my parents anyway had no hope that I'm going to pass anyway. So, but somehow I think a friend told me on the evening after seeing the newspaper, he said, that days actually we get a newspaper where, you know, the numbers are published. So then you see that you are passed. So he said, you have your number. Still, I said that probably it could be a mistake of printing. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be passed. But next morning when I went to the school and got the mark sheet, then I realized it's exactly the border marks I passed in mathematics. On the others, of course, I had a lot of love for biology and chemistry and also, which is, so yeah, so you can see that whatever happened later, probably something out of that, but actually I would not have been in this position again. I think whatever has to happen is happening, and whatever has to happen has happened. So that's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting, Bala, because I believe when I listened to it from you, what I thought was that it is something which is very inspiring, because many times students get demotivated if they get some bad marks in one particular subject. And here your example shows that it does not have to be the case. Even if you perform badly, maybe poorly, for some reason in a subject at a particular point of time, But afterwards, again, you have got lots and lots of opportunities if you work upon it, if you find your area of interest and of your area of expertise, something which you would like to do, then it is still possible to do very well in your career.
I think, yes, you are right. I always feel, and I always said so, and I'm also, whenever I meet people in India on my visits, and also or some relatives, children who are, and even for my sister's children, I told very clearly, do whatever you want. Don't think about too much of what is not coming. Don't put yourself too much pressure. Of course, unfortunately, I would not deny there is a very complex situation, because, as I said, sometimes the parents or the situation where you come from, and if you have seen all the time, certainly certain challenging position in your family, and then you want to give everything, and then you are told again and again, the only way out of it is you have to excel. And when you cannot do that, probably then the pressure is so much that you cannot. So I think in that sense, you are absolutely right. Probably each one of us, and I'm pretty sure who are all part of today in the whole video conference, I think we can all show that irrespective of whatever we have done at some point of time, irrespective of you getting good marks or not, I think if you pursue what you like and what your heart goes on, and you have certain guiding forces, then you can reach where you want. I want to stress that, because it's not just only about what you think, but these so-called guiding forces at different times of your life. I think that is what makes the difference where we are today. And there are others who have that same potential, could not come to that place because they missed that part.
Yes, thank you, Bala. And now I would like to open the floor for questions from the audience. I'm sure many of you are really waiting for the time to get some direct comments or answers from Bala. So please feel free to ask the question by either simply raising your hand or starting to speak, or you can write your questions in the chat box and I will track them. Thank you very much. So who would like to raise the first question? So there is one comment from Kokila Vaniji, who writes, do you regret not being a cricketer, Bala?
No, I don't think so. I think regret is something I actually, one thing I somehow luckily is that I don't have regrets at that moment, probably, or maybe, as I said, 2-3 weeks. But I don't think so. After that, life has to move on. I think even today, if something is not happening, maybe at that moment I have my frustration, but I think things has to go on. And I think that is a quality somehow, thank God, I have developed where, you know, one has to move on. There is no point in sitting down and thinking what has not happened.
Others? Yeah, Raigar sir.
Very nice, Bala. Very succinctly told about your childhood and up to the college life, and missing becoming another Kapil Dev. In fact, it loss is ours also, but gain is also there for us, that we are seeing in future the Stephen Well of lower Saxony. So we look forward to the moment when, after let's say 5 or 10 years down the line, we can say that we knew, yeah, this man we knew when I was Consul General there in Hannover, in Hamburg. We met Dr. Bala Ramani, who is the minister, or who is the state president or Lord Mayor, or maybe why not Chief Minister of Lower Saxony. So it is always, there's a loss, then there's a gain somewhere. So though we miss a cricketer, but now we have a budding politician, budding social worker, and a budding mentor for the Indian diaspora. Leaving that aside, because you are the mentor for the Indian students, so my quick question is that though you were almost getting failed in class 12, you were in such a situation, and then getting a gold medalist in bachelor's. What an achievement. There must be so many students here who have joined as a participant and who sometimes struggle, are low, and they feel that the world ended here itself for them. So you could be a motivation for them, but a mantra for them. So you can, how you from 12 to your journey to gold medal in your graduation. Can you please throw some light about it? Thank you.
Consul General, sir, thank you very much. I think, I don't know how much I can thank you. I think it's really something I'm glad to have really a friend and mentor in you. Yeah, I still feel that after 12th, it was, I mean, I would say I was prepared that I will not do well because I know that it's not going to happen. But then, okay, God has given that opportunity somehow that, you know, in that way. So I moved. But what I did was in the bachelor, actually, I think also my childhood friend is also, I think, today in the chat, Benjamin Franklin. So who we have been together in the bachelor, actually, also from Tanjore. So actually, when I lost hope of cricket, I was looking for the opportunity to revive. At least I know that my train has left, so I have no way anyway to catch up. But at least I somehow, so I chose actually an university and a college which at least can give me that pleasure of playing cricket at the college level, and that's how somehow I could say that, okay, to manage that whatever is lost in my school time, I can catch hold of it. And there actually I have to say most of my whatever today's very humble and modest achievements, whatever in education, has happened through many of my teachers, but most crucial of them are all women. I have to say that. The professors in the Bishop Weber College, where I did my bachelor in zoology, they have been a great motivating force, and they have been behind me. They identified me very early and supported me. And I think that's something. And actually, I have to say this gold medal thing was, and the university topper in both master's and bachelor was completely out of my own imagination, even today. Because it's a huge university. I don't know, maybe around how many thousands of students would have written from all colleges. This, like any university, as you know, it's like 1,000 affiliated colleges and everything. So again, it was a complete out of the surprise when I got the mark sheets at some point of time. They told, you have got this. So I think nobody actually, I'm pretty sure nobody is actually aiming to be a gold medalist or university topper. I think I just did what I can to my capability and ability. And the teachers also played a very crucial role in probably fine-tuning certain things. But to be very honest, whatever has happened, probably it's just adding on to that, rather than I haven't put any special efforts to do that, because that's something that was never my goal. But one has to do what a person likes very happily. And that is the only thing I can say. And I have been always doing that. Even today, the only thing I do is whatever at the end of the day brings happiness, whether I'm doing my research or whether I'm doing my office work or during the bachelor time, whatever subject, because I chose zoology because of two things. Because I am quite loving to animals, because my father is a veterinary doctor. So from the early times, actually, I have seen animals in my home, cows, which is used to come, or go with my father to actually go around the villages because he's treating animals. So love for animals is something very close to me. So that's how I chose zoology. So at least I'm going to a bachelor, which I know the subject, I love the subject. Rest of the things, whatever happened, it happened. And yeah.
Bala, if I may pick up some questions which were already asked. So one is from Ekta Mangani ji, who asked, and this fits very well to what you were just saying. She asked, my question to Bala is, how are you so humble? People once move to foreign countries and they forget the native town where they come from, but you are so attached to your roots, so touched, and so pleased to be your friend, she writes in the chat. So what would you like to say about that?
I don't know. I do not know how to answer, but I think I think from the very early, I think I was told or I was taught, I do not know, somehow this whole feeling of you should never forget the roots, not just because you should not forget, but because, see, only when you love something, when is something very close to you, you want to revisit that place and you want to be very attached to that place. Let it be friendship, let it be a place, or let it be an university, or let it be a teacher or professor. Somebody should have influenced you. Somebody should have played some very crucial role in your life, that you always want to keep that place, keep that person always in your memory and always keep thinking about it. I think that probably says that maybe that is why I still go back. And even today, when we have in our own village, have our house, I still go there. Probably that gives me that something which always I love to have it. And so I think that is probably the reason. If I love something, then that is not going to be taken away from me, and that will be always with me. And that's also right for the roots, what you are coming from. The humility and the modest also comes from the same fact, because I'm pretty sure even the richest of the rich people or the poor of the poor or somebody who is coming from different places, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, your humility talks a lot. And a country like India, I have to say, I think whomever we have learned from our history books, or those who have been told to us, or all those who have followed a very, very modest and very humble thing. And for me, obviously, whom greater than Mahatma Gandhi ji? I mean, the epitome of the humble ways and epitome of modesty, who actually showed to the world, it's not only about preaching, but let me do what I have told the world. So I think that all summarizes something that I am trying. I'm not even quarter of percentage of close to that great human being that ever lived in this earth, but I'm trying a little bit to learn from him, that what one can, the way one can be, so the way the life can be.
Mm-hmm. Bala, and the next question, there are so many interesting questions. I cannot pick all of them, so I'm trying to be a bit selective. But one question which came from Swati Sastrabuddheji, that's very interesting, and that fits again to what you were talking about. Swati asks that the CG has also mentioned you are a true Gandhian. And she says also your sign of mentions we must be the change we wish to see. So what is the motivation behind this sign off that you have in your email signatures?
I think one cannot justify just by giving advices or just by giving instructions. Rather than one should be the person who himself or herself should be at the front, doing things by which others get motivated and do things. And for me, it's very crucial that if I feel that there is a place which is dirty, then I should not say that that purse is dirty, then I should be the first one to take the mop and clean it, through which others see and they follow it. And that is something also Mahatma Gandhi for me did. He was not just saying there is apartheid, there is untouchability, and there is colonialism, but he himself was at the front, also without fearing for his life, and he showed that I am not just telling you to join me, but I am here joining, please join me. So that is something that summarizes all this quote, we must be the change we wish to see. So whatever little, very, very little thing that I have contributed to whatever happened in all these things, I have not shied away, staying in the back and requesting other to do things, rather than I was always in the front in that sense, be there and part of that, so that people see that it's not only just about words, rather than there is someone, when that person can do, why I cannot do. So this motivation and inspiration for me is very crucial if you have to become a team, and team only can take things further. So that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Bala, thank you very much for the discussion so far. To the audience, thank you very much for all the comments and questions. Some of them I could not pick up so far, and there is one about the political activity. I will pick up that one afterwards when we move into that direction. I would suggest we come back to a new theme in discussion with Bala, because we have so far touched what Bala's childhood has been, what has been his guiding or motivating force, what was he doing in his university level studies in India. But now let's move with Bala to Germany. Bala, you came to Hannover in, I think in 2000 for doing your PhD. Can you maybe share a bit like how the idea came for coming to Germany, doing this PhD, and what was that, how was that experience?
Yeah. Oh, that's again something. One thing that always happens is I have to be very honest here. I never have set a goal for anything. Probably that might be, people might think it's completely rubbish what he's saying, because everything is said that we need to a goal, we need to focus on the goal and everything. But unfortunately, somehow for me, I have just kept everything open in a sense that I have flowed where my heart was flowing. And also, as I said earlier, I have always trusted in my guiding forces. So after I finished my master's, I was about to start a PhD with my guide, Professor Kathiresan in Chidambaram, Annamalai University, where I did my master's. And one very fine morning, he called me to his home. His quarters was very close by. Most of the time I was there. He called me, Bala, here is the invitation letter. And he already told me, I have already accepted that you are going to Germany. So he didn't say anything. He didn't ask me whether you want to go, what is your aspiration, nothing. He said, look, I have got an offer for you for a PhD in Germany, and my colleague there wanted a PhD student. So I already told him, yes, I have a student, I'm sending him. So this is the invitation letter. Please go and get ready with a visa, and you are going to travel in 2 weeks. So that's all happened. So of course, Mata, Pita, Guru, Deva, that is how we are all. So when Guru is saying that, then you know that you can only think about good for you. So there is no question, second thought about it. So I said, okay, sir. Then actually I went to Chennai for getting the visa. And then I went home and told that actually my parents that I am already going in next week. So I'm going to Germany. So that's very clear. So they also did not, of course they were surprised, but they also know professor very well, and he was everything for me. He said, okay, then right decision. Obviously they felt it's, you are going to a place you have no idea about. So that's how it all spanned out. And then one fine morning in almost, I think, -12 degrees with a full of snow, I landed in Hannover, and for the first time. And actually I would have been deported back, because in Frankfurt in the rush, I missed my passport. Literally, it fell somewhere. So, but somehow very honest people there, they just took, and then they announced and I collected. So when I landed in Hannover, yes, my Professor Jutta Pardenbroek picked me up. So for the first time in a country, never have boarded a flight, all was seeing only in the cinema. So even you do not know how to actually put your seat belt. That is was the reality actually when you sit in that cabin, and then everything is new for you. So that's how I landed here, and then yeah, rest is history.
Very interesting. And how was your experience then in Germany? Did you feel the need for having some sort of support system, whether it's the Indian community or other community, other support system? So how was it for you to come to a place where you have been never to earlier? You were traveling for the first time out of India, and you practically did not know anyone. So was the time very hard, especially in this winter, cold, gray, no one outside, everything is dark? How was it for you?
It was very hard. I think that's something even today, I am pretty sure you and CG sir and many of them also we do to the new students, that the most difficult thing is for us, all of us, to come out from a very colorful and very warm tropical India to a very dark, when you wake up it's dark, when you go to bed it's dark. and here. And that was very difficult. In January, I think 30th of January, I landed, and yeah, it was very hard for me. Actually, to tell Rajnish Bhai, I would have gone back after 3 months. Actually, after 3 months, I went to my professor and I requested a meeting, and then I told, I am sorry, professor, this is very nice. You all took care of me so well, and the group is very, very kind to me, but still I somehow feel that I am not destined for here. And so I think I would prefer to go back to India. And she just told me only one thing. She said, Bala, I can fully understand. And of course, it's your decision. I respect. But maybe you think only one thing, whether you go back, whether you will regret. Whether when you look back, maybe after 10 years, probably you think maybe I could have stood for some more time so that things would have changed. So maybe if you feel that you would not regret, then go ahead. But if you feel that you somewhere in your heart, it says that you will regret, maybe you should give a chance for some time. And then I went home, and maybe again, with the God's grace, that probably the thought was, and then it was already in March, as I was telling you, in end of March. But then after 2 months, around April, slowly the spring started, and then May, June, the summer started. So I think by the time that things have changed, again, close to weather of more sunlight and everything, and little bit the whole thing. So I didn't feel so lonely. So then again, everything went well, and it's almost a year. So by the next winter came, I know what I have to do. And actually by the time in Hannover, that where there was only 2, actually I know only one more Indian student in my university, Kishore from Bombay, and we are the only 2 actually at that point of time. And we hardly have anyone also in over. So it was very, very thin. And so, but later things changed, and yeah, now I'm here.
Yeah, so Bala, did that experience make you also go in the direction of community work, like later on, as was mentioned earlier, you established here an Indian association in Hannover, and you became involved with the community work. And actually, I know like that you are not just involved with Indian projects, but also projects that help anyone in need. So was this personal experience in some ways also motivating you to initiate such ideas?
Yes, I'm pretty sure always personal experience are the best thing that can happen for one, because we don't need to get convinced by anyone, because you know you have gone through certain things. And so it has become paramount for me from that point of time to make sure that at least the students who are coming need to be taken care of. And so I voluntarily offered myself to the international office and also to others to tell that if anybody comes, please let me know. And as you rightly said, it's not only about Indian students, but we also had the lab, very many students from everywhere. It doesn't have to be from there or there. So that was something very, very sure, very much the need. But also as a foreigner, I start to realize that you need to have some kind of a grouping where certain things can be discussed, which you don't want to discuss in the public. Probably others might think other way, because it's also always about the sensitiveness of certain things. Because even the language, if I can tell just one word, assimilation, you know very well how the terminology in English and the terminology in German. So it's a completely opposite. If somebody says assimilation, that is something, a very hard word, which can take back the Germans to their own very dark history, but assimilation is something, a different thing. So that is only an example. So we needed some place, some space where the people from outside can discuss certain challenges they have, what could be better, where they actually face the difficulty. So that's something always in my mind, and being very early in Hannover at that point of time. So whoever comes later, probably I could be as an experience for them to help them. What are those things I went through, which they don't have to go through? And this developed, and also with respect to the community service, as I told earlier, this is something, it has been always with me, even my very, very early times, in my childhood as well. Somehow I have been always in the team, somewhere looking for something that we need to do in the local streets and things like that. So I think this all put together, probably that has always stayed with me, whether I was in college or school, and later in Hannover and further down.
Mhm. So, Bala, there is also some comment coming for you, and I would like to just read it. I think your colleague, or Heidi Beutler says, "Dear Bala, you have also really paved the way for many Indians to come to Hamburg." So she is giving a statement pointing out what work you have been already doing. And also Ravi has written, "Thank you, Bala, for assisting me with supporting my stay at Hannover during my visit for the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship." So we see a lot of positive resonance coming on that. I would continue with one or two more questions so that afterwards we can have a larger room for discussion without too much fragmentation. So what I would like to do is, I have two questions basically more. One is related to your political activities. Actually, it's quite fascinating. CG was mentioning that there is hardly anyone from within the Indian community going into the politics, especially if you look at the first generation immigrants. People are normally very much concerned with their own day-to-day lives, settling down. So whatever we see in terms of political engagement from immigrant communities, by the way, not just for India, for any other community, it typically starts happening with the second generation of immigrants. So you are one of those rare people who get involved in politics, being the first generation immigrant. So what brought you basically to politics? So far we have seen, yes, you were doing community work, you were supporting students, not just from India, but from also other places. But what took you into the politics of Germany?
Politics is something, let's say the first part I would say, as per politics, politics per se, I was very, very much interested, even while I was in India. Because my uncle, as I said, who is no more, he himself was a local politician there, something, because I saw politics in the way of much more enhancing your service to the society. That's how I looked at it. It's for me a more regulated way of community service, because that politics, through politics, you can do much more. And when I came to Germany, actually, there were, as I said before, there were quite a bit of challenges actually, which I realized can be addressed through that. But one beautiful thing happened for me was, a very good friend of me and her father he was not actually having any position in the Social Democratic Party in Germany, but he is one of the very old gentlemen who actually was part of the party, and he was in Solingen, he's no more actually, Mr. Leif Krieg. And I went to meet him. I think it could be around 2010 or something like that. Till 2010, I was, let's say, following politics, but mostly I was having to do with my PhD, and then I was actually doing the other work with YPAD and getting things done. So other things took my time. After 2010, when I met him, we were discussing a lot of things, and that actually intrigued me. Actually, immediately, I came back to Hannover and enrolled myself in around 2012, I think. I enrolled into the Social Democratic Party immediately, and I said, okay, this is the time. I need to get into the politics, and even enrolling itself brought me a lot of happiness. It's a great feeling. So that, I think I have to give that credit for triggering that part, though politics was inside me like a gene, probably dormant in Germany at that point of time, but then he triggered me, and I realized, okay, there is a party which fits with my values and which fits with my way of looking at the whole multicultural society and other things. So then I want to join, and through which I want to further my aspirations for the people. That's how actually the politics in Germany happened.
Thank you, Bala. And one question from me, one more. You were instrumental in getting the bust of Mahatma Gandhi installed in Hanover. And can you please share with us the idea, like how you got the idea and how it was implemented? What work were you actually doing? How did you get everything connected?
It's no secret that Mahatma Gandhi is my guru and idol, and more than many other things. It's not so. It is very known, and actually, I have actually seen two visits in Hannover. While in Hannover, I think around 2005, Honorable Prime Minister at that time, Shri Manmohan ji, he was there coming when Hannover Messe was partner country. India was partner country to Hannover Messe. That time also I could meet. And then later, after 10 years in 2015, actually, Prime Minister Modi came when Hannover again was a partner country. So around 2013, I would say around that time, already it was known that Hannover, India will be the Hannover partner country in 2015. And we were thinking about what can we do actually. And I was speaking a lot, giving some, during that time, I also go to some schools and all giving talk about India and things. So at that time, I was also speaking about Mahatma Gandhi and among other things. And it came to me, we have to do something that probably establishes a long-lasting history between my, let's say, second home, adopted home, Hannover, and my first home, India, where I was born and grew. And I was discussing with also, at that point of time, Honorable Consul General, now an Ambassador, Dr. Vidhu Nair, and he was there and he was telling what are the different things. We actually didn't decipher Mahatma Gandhi bust, but we were telling about something we have to do when the Prime Minister is coming. We have to showcase him, we have to honor him, and also give something, a fitting tribute to India as a partner country. And we were thinking about a gathering of Indian students, which of course happened, Indian cultural thing which happened. And then together with the Tagore Center, when we were discussing, then people are asking, Bala, do you have any ideas? What can we do much more? Then I put forward this idea, this establishing a Mahatma Gandhi bust would be a great thing. This will be of a great cultural value, great value of humanity, but also great educational value, because having a bust and just like another one, and then you are going on the October 2nd and just garlanding, that should not be the case. It has to be something that Hannover citizens and the tourists who are coming to Hannover need to relate to it, and something people need to have school children go there and they learn from what Mahatma Gandhi ji did. So I think this has to be a lot of educational value attached to it as well. So that's how something came, and they from the Consulate General of India and also from the embassy, they said look forward to it. But the only crux was it was not that easy as it is. It took almost 1.5 to 2 years from 2013 till April 12th, 2015, from the unveiling of from the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister. I have to start the whole process by adopting a resolution in my SPD local Ortsverein, the club, and taking it to various political establishments and taking it to the Bezirksrat, the local constituency, and then to the Rat, and then all the political party or the majority political party has to agree to it that bust can be established, because there was no precedence of something in Hannover. And so nobody knew what are the rules and regulations have to establish for that. So that took a lot of time back and forth. I had to meet with people and go through the political ways. And then also there was funding, around 40,000 euro was required to establish basically the basement and the ground for where the Mahatma Gandhi bust gifted by Government of India has to come. And it has to come from Agra. So a lot of things. And finally, that happy moment happened when the Prime Minister actually inaugurated. And that day, actually, it was so blessed. It was warm and sunny. So there was huge amount of Hanoverians, also from people from every part of Germany, who could come and witness that. So that's a very short summary of how it all traveled.
Yes, Bala, thank you for giving this wonderful background story, how complex the whole procedure was. And I remember vividly being there. I was there, and it was a great moment for all of us, not just for Indians, for everyone who believes in the principles of the Mahatma. And I think you still continue to visit this statue regularly and take care that it's in good shape and everything works. So thank you very much for sharing that. And now I would like to open the floor for questions. Is there someone who would like to ask a question? There are a few that are in the comment box, so I can read that afterwards. But maybe there is someone who just wants to put his question directly to you. So the floor is yours. Please go ahead. So in the
no, Bala.
Okay, yeah. Professor Venkatesha, please go ahead.
Yes. So Bala, initially you hesitated to stay back in Germany, whereas later you got adapted, and then you are doing a lot of good things between India and Germany. But anytime have you felt that you could have done a similar job, back in India, if you are not stayed in Germany?
Thanks a lot, Vanakkam Venkat. Thanks very much. No, I actually have not thought. Probably, I mean, maybe I'm philosophical in that sense, or I will give philosophical answer. I think whatever happens, I truly believe even today, maybe as at some point of time, we always think whether this could be, that could be, but that's a momentary thing for me, at least I try my best that way. So if I would have been in India, maybe now, probably there also I might have ventured into politics, probably because I had my, let's say, affection to certain political leader and also the party. And so probably I would have maybe joined the politics there and have served at that level, or I would have joined with some other things. I do not know. But I have never had any, let's say, regret that, if I would have been there, maybe I could have done. I'm pretty sure if I would have been there, I would have done certain things which are what I'm doing here as well in a different way. But I think it is too contextual or too much to say that whether this could have been, because I always feel that something happens, whatever you plan, there is something only will happen that happens. As I said, it's a very philosophical answer, but that's how I look at it.
Yeah, Bala, thank you so much.
Bala Ramachandran had asked, how are you accepted in the political community in Hanover, being an immigrant?
Actually, very well. And I have to say that I never had any, let's say, pre-thoughts whether I would be accepted or not, because I had great hope, but not expectation. That's something I always try to see, because expectation brings you a lot of, let's say, sadness if things do not happen. So there was no expectation for me to join, because I wanted to be doing something and I wanted a platform. So I joined. And actually, to say, now you see where I am, whatever little I am, that's all the party has given and the party members have given. Never they looked at me that I am from this where, or I am from that where, or I look like this or something. Never anything of region, religion, caste, nothing has come into the force. Only your passion for the politics, the amount of time you can spend, and how much you can carry the certain values that parties stand for, or for the whole thing. And then they always give you the platform to rise and rise and rise, but it's up to you to decide where you want to go, at what level you want to go, how much time you can invest. So I think it has been very impartial. I can only encourage anybody who are like us here in this country, please do join. There is no prejudice on joining, apart from one other party, which we will all know that for me is a no-go. But other than that, any other party doesn't matter. If you feel close to it, the major mainstream democratic parties, they all really look forward, irrespective of where you come from, what is your religion, color, caste, creed, whatever it is.
Thank you. Other questions? I think Raigar Saab wants to ask something. Yeah.
So Bala, you have been here and done that. You have been instrumental to get this Mahatma Gandhi bus placed after a long struggle of 2 years. And but what a grand finale that it was. The Lord Mayor was there and our beloved Prime Minister was there at the time of uh, inauguration or of this statue on 12th April 2015. But as you say, this dil mange more. We always ask for more, and I appreciate what you have done so far. But I know you have to go a long way. You have to write. You have to do so many achievements which are on your way. And we have all the best wishes for you that you achieve all those. And as far as the government of India and as a representative I am is concerned, as a Consul General, we would like to do many more things, get it done through you and through Indian community. So do you have any suggestion as such that we can do? You have been suggesting so many things so far, but as I say, ye dil mange more means we will always ask for more. So you have any suggestion which you feel that can be done in future by the Indian community, by the Indian government, by the Consulate General of India, by the Embassy of India, or by all together? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think anything that has happened, like I am just a tool. I have not led anything in the front or so. It has been always a teamwork, and it is because of the different stakeholders and actors that has happened. So I think this is something, even Mahatma Gandhi bust has happened because of the very hard work put in my colleagues in the party, the mayor at that time, and Mr. Thomas Herman, Marley Dreverman, so many people, and also from the government in India at the right time the bus has arrived, and also from the Embassy of India, from the Tagore Center. So I think it is all the diaspora obviously having a huge presence in it, and so I think it is a team. And also I feel that one thing we all need to do is, which I don't say it's a concrete activity, but in the last year, I would say, in the last 2-3 years, I would say at least I can speak, is the visibility of the diaspora and the diaspora activities, and in a positive image. It has been always there as an Indian diaspora, that it has come out very positively, but the visibility has grown multiple folds. And it can be for many reasons. It can be because of very innovative events like this, for example, has happened, or it is because of the tour by the Consul General yourself has gone over, or from the embassy they have done a lot of things, and also the students platform has come into the picture, and there are a lot of outreach activities that has come. And so I think this is a very good time, as a member of the diaspora, all from the students have to come out of little bit more, should trust themselves, should feel self-confident that they should promote the country, that they should make sure that India and Germany has a lot to offer equally. And I think we have to look at that way. For one example, I can tell you the first ever India Days happened in Hannover under your leadership. And earlier, as we saw in Hamburg, India Week happened. So these kind of things has to happen in many places. And the occasion of the India Days, for example, the 50th anniversary of the bilateral signing of the cultural agreement between India and Germany. So we have to look like those things. And we as a diaspora, and together with the consulate, and also not the embassy, we, the diaspora people who have that opportunity and who have the privilege to meet with the political establishments, meet with the business people, we have to convince that more of visits to India and Germany has to happen. And I know whatever amount of formal activities happen, the so-called informal approach, personal touch will make a lot of difference, and one visit can make a huge difference. So I think it has to be something that we have to more and more associate. Each and every member has to join hands with the Indian missions like the consulate and others, to support, to make sure that this happens, to really promote this so-called India-Germany and Indian understanding in Germany. That's what I call it, because still, whatever we are doing, unfortunately, there are still some notions from people, because we cannot control the media, and media is free to report what it is. Sometimes people just read, and whatever information they have, they feel. For example, there are people who think in India it's always summer, or sometimes people think it's always raining. I'm just telling as a very few examples. So we need to tell them, no, there are pleasant sites you can go, the diversity about it. So my only thing I can think about is, sir, that we have to, as a diaspora, has to come more and more out, join hands and bring things to happen. I think rather than one single activity which make a big things, small steps like this will actually fall in place. For example, you came to Hannover with me, meeting the current Lord Mayor, and already we are discussing when he is going to visit to India, accepting the kind invitation from the Prime Minister. Something we have to take it up. It costs time, but it's need people constantly following up, and that can only happen at the local ground. People can do it. And if there are those kind of chain of things which is being followed up, then we will have accumulated huge number of activities.
Thanks, Bala. Is there someone who wants to put a question? Yeah, Naya Saab. Yeah, please go ahead.
This is a word of appreciation to Bala Ramani. I am now speaking from USA, but I am attached to the physical chemistry department of the Leibniz University. So Bala is very helpful for the students who are visiting, who are coming to Leibniz University, and I have seen him. Normally, we used to meet him at the university Mensa, and you can appreciate that whenever I see him, he is around a bunch of Indian students in the Mensa, eating together and talking to them. And they used to, if they have some problems, he used to solve. And to me also, for the last 10 years, whenever I go to Leibniz University, he was a wonderful help. And he, as a person of Leibniz University, I just wanted to appreciate him for all his help, not only to me, for the other students and teachers who are coming to Leibniz University. Thank you, Bala, once more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Naya Saab. So, Bala, because time is running out, so I will pick up two more questions which have been already put in the comment box. And what I have done is I have given the offer that if someone has questions, please feel free to write them in the chat box. And if you have to leave, because for example, it's quite late in India, we'll continue the session here afterwards and we'll get Bala to answer them. So the answers would be available via YouTube afterwards. So we will pick up all questions that you consider are important. Just it might be so that we are not able to handle them right now. But Bala, I'll begin with one question which was put here by Kokilavani, who asked, what is your view on learning German to fit into the local community? Can you say something quickly about it?
Absolutely. I think the biggest advantage was, I have to admit, I am actually somehow have the habit of not formally learning languages, but maybe it's something that has come to me that even German, actually, I have learned through my colleagues. And so I've always picked up the language by speaking and interacting with people. And that has had two advantages. One is that you get to mingle with people closely because you really then learn from them actually. And that gives you that you are feeling you're not inhibited about something where in the class. But I don't say that not learning formal is not right. So don't get me wrong. So language is very crucial. And I think language made a lot of doors open for me to serve others and for my development as well. So I want to really register this. So anywhere you go, if I would have got a job in Delhi, probably the first thing I have to do is to get to mingle with really the Delhiwalas and try to learn the language there, try to get to going. And that's how I saw in Germany as well. And there, I think my lab and gardeners, even I remember a bakery, which is next to my first place I lived. Even today, I remember that grandmother, when I go to that bakery, sometime when I work, I still remembers me after 20 years. I used to go there at the first days, I used to point my finger and ask her this bread and this. So she then picked me up. And later she taught me slowly Brötchen and those kind of things. And today also, when I'm going there, even I remember, I think a year back when I was there, she laughed and there was another customer there and she showed, you know, this young man, I still remember times when he came with showing me in fingers, but today what he is. So these are things are pleasant memory for me, that German as a language really, really played a very crucial role. I can only agree, language opens doors anywhere you go out of your home place, the language you know. So please do learn language, doesn't matter within India or outside India.
Thanks, Bala. Swatiji, please just wait for 1 minute. I think Raigar Sahab wanted to say something.
Yeah, actually, thanks, Bala. You just mentioned about media, and you just mentioned that media doesn't have a very good notion about India, and they pick and choose the stories which they would like. And we, the Indian, either we can blame ourselves also at the Indian representative, consulate or embassy, and also the diaspora. We are not able to convince them to write a positive and development stories. During my tenure, even I met all the chief editors of the media, because Hamburg is a media house, and I met them almost everyone. And also the associate editor who deals with South Asia or India in particular. And we provided them so many stories. I just took them for lunches and I try to inculcate. And I came to know that, you know, they always tell that, you know, they are independent in their versions of what they write, and they can't take dictates from the chief editor or anyone else or like that. I feel that could be an excuse, but they somehow doing that what they want. But I have seen the change last 4 years, that at least they are started writing, and they, whenever they write something, they send me a copy also, that this is what we wrote. And it's not that we are always writing some stories about snake charmers or cows on the road. No, they are writing some development stories about the scientific development taking place in India. And things are changing, but not to that expectation. I think our diaspora who are in different places and able to like portray India in a positive way, I think they also have a responsibility, because the consulate or embassy has a limited number of officers, though they have wherewithal and access, but still they are on the ground. They are a ground soldier. Indian diaspora is a ground soldier. They can do much more. That is from my side, but I would also like to, in a crisp way, whenever you can later on also can tell us how we can make inroad into the media person who has a sort of closer, as far as India is concerned, they don't take the way we would like them to see India. So your take on it. Thank you, Bala.
Thank you, sir. Rajnish bhai, shall I answer to this shortly and maybe later?
Yeah, maybe like Bala, my suggestion would be that maybe you answer briefly and then we can discuss on it afterwards.
Yeah.
I would just take 1 or 2 questions from people who are from India for whom it's getting late, and we can continue maybe afterwards. Yeah.
So, Consul General, sir, yes, actually, Rajnish bhai and me, we have been discussing that, and we do also thinking of a plan, but because of many other these things, it has been actually we wanted to think of inviting or we wanted to actually meet with, for example, few of the very let's put it this way, very renowned magazines and newspapers, and also some of the journalists we have together, and try to understand more on that of certain thoughts which you also shared, and try to establish something called Understanding India per se. I'm just bluntly saying it not be the topic, and exactly to address these points actually. How come this is something mostly, as you rightly said, probably there is something which is changing, but not to the effect like there are other things happening. And we have to really discuss with the media here. But I can tell you, sir, to very closely having few people in the media, I can say you that there are certain things which are looked at in a way for them to, because the journalists tell me we also have to look journalism in a way, not only write the positive things, but only we have to also write certain things also for the sake of getting the so-called attention. Though they themselves admit sometimes it is going overboard, but I think there is also a case. But for India, it's still, I would say, in a sense positive, because a lot of positive thing happens, but the amount of article that is going is or coming is really less. Actually, only during certain visits it happens, or there are certain economical things and more, but not much actually, which I fully agree with you. So I think that need to be done more, and I think we are sitting on it, and hopefully you can see, maybe God willing, at some point of time in the next 6 months or so, there will be some kind of a forum coming out where we will really look at that with press, where we can really speak through the press, not as magazine, but also through other media outlets, more on that front.
I think like some informal efforts, like what the German ambassador to India is doing, is a great work. I follow him on Twitter and see how much informal work he is doing in promoting India in all parts of the world, actually, with Twitter. But we can discuss on that later on. I think, Swati, you had some great question, and if you are still there, then maybe you want to put it yourself to Bala, otherwise I can read the question.
No, thank you, Dr. Tiwari. Yeah, so I wanted to ask Bala, because as an educationist, and I know that he's the India strategic advisor at Leibniz University, I am aware that India and Germany have a very close association regarding the education sector. But I would like to ask him, with reference to the new education policy of the government of the MHRD, how does he see the, how does he envisage the future of the higher education sector? And does he see any more developments coming from India and Germany in higher education?
Yeah, thank you, Swati. It's lovely to see you also in this late midnight, and thanks a lot. And yeah, I have gone through the NEP very closely, and also have deliberated with few of the experts actually who have drafted the whole document. And one thing I am very much assured is that the opening of India to the world, it has happened a lot, but it has happened in a very phased and let me say restrictive manner, not in the negative connotation, but in a connotation, in a sense there are only certain institutions which had that privilege to get it open, because of the natural way of these institutions being traditional, and it has been having the international cooperation for quite some time. And there are also the people, the normal deserving students or staffs also had not much of the opportunity because of various reasons. And I think this NEP envisages two things. One is, the beautiful thing that I have mentioned is establishing the so-called international offices across higher education institutions in India. Of course, it's a big challenge, and it needs a very qualified manpower, as you yourself know, being at the very highest level in internationalization, in symbiosis for many, more than a decade. So we need that manpower, and we need the right people to don these offices. But I think if that is something which will be established, then we have a window where the German institutions can come in, because that was long an issue. They need to have a place where they can really speak with when they want to cooperate. That was missing for a long time. I think if that could be established, that is one thing. Second, regarding establishment of campuses, which is not very new, but certainly the bill and the law and the regulations have been lagging for some time. If I am right, if that is again given the push, then probably also we can see a lot of things coming, not only with Germany, but also from the international level moving towards, because that's always have been problem for India, because from India, a quite lot is happening outside, but not into India. That has been always the difficulty to attract the right staff, more professors, more students. I think that has been missing. Probably that will also happen. And the third point is a research collaboration and the autonomy of research. And I think more is being in the education policy, because the so-called research and teaching, like the Humboldtian model, what is happening in Germany, I think that is something is very crux of it, where the research and teaching will go very much hand in hand in most of the institutions. Of course, this educational policy is not a document for the next 10 years. It is a vision for the next 50, 60 years. So it takes time. Institutions are diverse, the financial challenges, regulatory challenges, but I am looking at it in a very positive way.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Swati.
Swati.
Swati ji, thank you, Bala. Are there any more questions from? Yeah, I think Pallavi asked a question. Pallavi, do you want to put it yourself to Bala directly?
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Mr. Bala, for the lovely session. It's been an inspirational session. So my question is, as an educationist, I'm relocated recently to Hamburg, and in my I would like to volunteer. Is there any platform where I can register my interest?
Yeah, I mean, that is not a platform per se, because most of the things that's happening is happening, in a way that you get into your teamwork. But certainly, we can interact, and of course, you have the very close in Hamburg. Please do get in touch with Rajnish Bhai, Dr. Rajnish Tiwari, because he himself is also an educationist. I've been working in many projects, and also, so I would suggest your first point of contact directly, because you are in Hamburg. It's much easier also due to Corona times. Get in touch with him, and probably there are certain things you will learn, what are the already existing initiatives where you can contribute, or what are your ideas. And then we can together also look at it, and we can take it forward, because we work very closely, and certainly there is something one can look, or the ideas you have, probably we can put in touch with you in certain other platforms, probably this, which is not like a very organized platform, but people together, they also have the same ideas, which could be developed into an initiative.
That's helpful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bala, and thanks, Pallavi. Please feel free to get in touch.
All right.
So, I think, Raigar Saab, the time is probably running out. Should we take one or two more questions, or you need to unmute here?
Yeah, go ahead, because it's a very informative, very interesting, and very motivating session. So if overshoot the time, we are all family who joined us knows Bala very well, and so it's okay if some who really are late in India, if they leave, they are welcome, no problem. But some can stay put, and we can continue this session. Few more, no problem. Go ahead.
Dr. Bala, this is Ravi. And I would like to ask, we have had sidelines discussions on the possibility of, sorry about that, I forgot to start my video. Hold on, please. Okay, this is Ravi here. I would like to ask if you are in a position to say, I know this is an India-centric forum, but I'm the US. Would you be able to tell in any way or form, is it possible for a trilateral arrangement involving United States, Germany, and India to be able to do some kind of an education-centric programs? It could be scholarships, it could be fellowships, it could be at the level of undergraduates, graduates, students, visiting professors, exchange students, and things of that nature. How it could be made possible? We are going to have a transition here in this country soon in terms of the political situation. I'm very much happy to reach out and help, as you know, to help these kinds of programs. So please advise what could be the best way to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. I hope you are calling from holiday. Huh? You're enjoying a
No,
beautiful
no, it's a
background picture.
It's a backdrop of my.
I know. I'm joking. I'm joking. Thank you. Thanks a lot from Ravi, all the way from US. Yes, there are beautiful opportunities. We just have to find two things. One, we need to find which institution in Germany you wish to. Of course, Hannover is always there, but also the other institutions where you have a cooperation. And we need to find an institution in India where you already might have a cooperation, or your team you wish to have. And also a common partner in India who the German partner and you both come across. For example, let's say one institution in India where the professor who is contact in Germany also cooperates and you also cooperates because the theme is related. That means we already have, let's say, a common partner in India, Germany, and in US, you yourself. And then I see money should not be an issue because there are quite a bit of funds, which is always possible. And I think the first step should be to identify the right partner in India and Germany where both of together with you, which fits. And the next is to agree upon what we want to. And then from the mobility side, there are many opportunities like the DAED funds are there, even Indian funds are there. These days, a lot of like Spark research is there, many new initiatives, Gyan is there. So many other things are also there. So I think, Ravi, there is a very good opportunity. So let us try to work on who would be your partner in India where, you would like to work with, and that institution, whether they also have a partner in Germany.
Thank you, Bala. So is there some other question? If not, then Bala, maybe in the meantime, I had one question which I could not ask so far.
Rajnish Bhai, there is Dr. Nagarajan. Who just
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, please. Dr. Nagarajan, please.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Bala. I have a question is like, I connect that question to our CG Raigar, sir, and I want to do it as like, the main problem what we face, I think, is the media, always we try to follow them. Like they have to write something about us, both positive or negative. As in Germany, you know that Willkommen Kultur, Deutsche Integration, and they always make these things. Why don't we also do, or is there anything existing like, okay, students can go to German families. The German families have a connection with the students. Or we make programs like Austausch, like exchange programs where the German students go to India to many different universities and so on, but in a very, very regular basis. I'm not talking about programs what we already have like India Days or a cultural Bharatanatyam evening or something, because that always happens. They come write about it and just get off. Is there anything where it is long lasting that could be done, or is there already existing?
Thanks a lot, Dr. Nagarajan. I think there is a lot existing actually. For example, Robert Bosch Foundation, it has been working along and even now on school students exchange. Actually, quite a lot of schools in India. Mostly, of course, they look at the school where also German is taught in India, so that they have that connection, and so which is happening. And for example, also German India Media Ambassadors Program also, which has been happening. Unfortunately, it's stopped now. But that was also one way of reaching out to the media on both sides, that young journalists come here, they get to know, they work with different places like Der Spiegel or the Zeit, and those places get to know. And this meeting of the families, actually, the DAGs, Deutsche Indische Gesellschaft. The whole idea of that at that point of time is also to do the same thing, try to get more to the common German families actually, because the Germans who went to India, then they came back here and they then said that how it was, and so the true picture. But to somehow it is, some of them are active, but most of them, because the actual founders and those who are active have become very old or they're aged. So the new generation, somehow they couldn't pick up. But anyway, I think that was also a reason. I think one of the things that happens also with respect to the students, at least, is so-called DARD, you know DAAD very well. So the DARD Alumni Netzwerk, that is one association funded by the DAAD for the informal group of German students who have gone to India, who have been funded by the DAAD. They form an association and they regularly meet with different chapters in different cities, so-called Stammtisch. So there, the Indian students also join, and they always try to understand what is actually happening from the Indian perspective. Sometimes they read in the media, but then Indian perspective, so that Indian students or the young people tell, look, what it is written is not exactly what it is, but it has much more story behind. So those kind of things are happening. But one thing that has to happen, which is quite difficult, is how the local diaspora can really interact with the German families, where they can really meet them. Because see, unless otherwise somebody who is interested in Indian, so the target should not be Germans who are anyway interested in India. Because if they are interested, then it's clear. They will always find out the things. What we are looking at is the majority of them who have kind of an assumption about India, or they feel that India is this, but they do not surely know whether India is this or whatever happens. I think that is where someone has to work out. Probably it has to happen more also from the diaspora level, that this diaspora, I have been always telling this, also it's happening, which I have to be very thankful also to the Consulate General of India and the Consul General in the last years. Actually, the more diverse activity of the Diaspora Association has happened, one has to say. It's not only about, as you rightly said, about a Bharatanatyam, which is also important, no doubt about it, but it has to be more interactive events where there need not be a program, but it just need to be about discussion, about free-flowing discussion. About some people ask, look, I have heard something about India, this issue. Is it right? Please tell me. Somebody who is from Andhra Pradesh, please tell me. I think that is what has to happen, and you are right. I think this is the way we can really bring the real understanding about India, and that has to happen, to my mind, to certain level structurally, but most also naturally. It has to happen organically. It has to happen from people like you and me, who has to use our own German surrounding and try to meet, let it be professors or let it be your own boss in a company, and try to help them understand. I think that's the way it can also go. This is one way one can do it.
No, actually, to put it forward is like, I don't know whether this exists. Like I said, like what we, as for the media also together, is like, we did one campaign in Schwerin. So where we gave an advertisement in our newspaper stating that we are looking for family for our Indian students. So we put out that note and we said, this is not going to be like they're going to stay for you the whole time. It could be on the weekends meet. It could be like cooking on an evening. It was to learn something. It could be something, and we put something, and then there were a lot of people showed interest, and then they came back. And later on, they were also like, students were getting from them TVs, radios, everything. So they were like, oh, I never knew that it is like that. So something of an initiative where we can put it in the newspaper in the beginning like that. Then we can put in also like you, as you're already in the SPD or in kind of a social programs, you already know prior, like in Hamburg. These are some social programs. Why don't we also as an Indian take part in those social programs, which are also Germans? So what happens is like this gives an interaction between the two rather than always showcasing, we have this, you have this. We are not talking about that. Is there anything could be developed, or is it already there?
No, I'm pretty sure it can be two things there. One, there are certainly, as you write in Schwerin, there are few people who initiated this, who followed up this, because for everything you need somebody who takes some responsibility to get things going. Because if you want to publish something in a newspaper, you cannot just do it and later people do not start complaining. You guys did, and we invited people and things like that, just for a sake. So this can only happen locally. there cannot be a wide program. It has to be a case by case what has happened. And so there is no one platform which says that, you know, that happens. So it can be a platform which can collect, but I think the local diaspora associations for me is the best place something can start exactly like that one, where they have to move beyond. But then for that, we need always 1-2 people who have time to really invest to get such kind of things going. And I think that is where probably certain things can be taken up. And probably this is something very good. Maybe later we can actually further deepen this discussion and to look at what could be some other things that we can put it together and take it forward. I'd be very interested. So just drop me your detail and we can take it up. And I think I have put in my chat also my email and also my phone number as well. So just WhatsApp me and we will work it on together.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Nagarajan. And okay. Then I would say we are slowly coming to a close. And maybe Bala, just one final question for winding it up. If I'm not mistaken, you are a big Rajnikanth fan. So if you can share with us, what is it that drives you to, on the one hand, to Mahatma Gandhi and on the other hand to Rajnikanth? Where are the similarities? And which is your favorite movie, by the way?
Okay, my favorite movie of Rajnikanth is called Annamalai, where actually, it's a little bit of typical, but it's again a motivating thing that, you know, he, again, that builds with a friendship, which is very close to me, because I always say 75% of whom I am has a lot to do with my friends. They have played a very crucial role in many, many times of my life. So that is one thing about friendship. And also Talabadi by great director Mani Ratnam. So that is one thing also. It's a more with the Mahabharata role of Karna. So how about friendship is and all those things. So anyway, like for cricket, it's only one and only Kapil Dev. I cannot remember or think about anyone when I say about cricket. So for that, like from my life, a lot of things I have taken from Rajnikanth again, because it's not about acting. Many people say acting, but he's one of the finest actor actually. Many people do not know this from the early times, but of course later he moved into his own style, which has been his magnet. But he also came from very humble background, and his humility, his modesty, and even at the very, very top, even today, is very, very modest thing. Even I'm not telling that, even the greatest Amitabh Bachchan or anybody, people always, first of all, Rajnikanth he's spoken about his humble ways. And that is, he never forgets the past. His respect for his elder brother who grew him, all those things. And I think those things always, and for me, Talaivar is all and everything. So for me, it's the best. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for this insight at the end of the session. And with that, I think I'm done with my part. Raigar ji, the floor is back again yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajnish ji, for taking this journey wonderfully well, moderating it so nicely, engaging the participants and asking, pointing, and the questions which I did not know even after 4.5 years almost, that he was a cricketer. Bala, you
didn't know it after knowing him for 10 years. I just found out.
So Tanjavur, growing up in Tanjavur, then missing on cricket, and then gold medalist in university, to the politician now. Bala, your journey has just begun. I would say, we love you. The participants who have been there in large number, they love you. Taking apart my position as a Consul General, I am also a great fan of you. Your humbleness, your grounded nature, and your simplicity to the core. We really love you, and we have all the best wishes on behalf of the consulate, my colleagues, and all friends who know you. and any acquaintances who have come across, they will be baffled. They will be really impressed by your modesty, the way you and your energy. Always you are, I never saw you tired. You have been running around doing good things, always thinking about the welfare of Indian diaspora, students and others. At the midnight, I call you, you send message. Early morning at 4:30, you will send a message back. At 5 o'clock, you give a call. You are there if there's a student or any problem in the diaspora. So please keep doing that good work you have been doing. And from our side, we wish to continue with you because a lot things which are maybe still unsaid, but time has its own limitations, and we have to close the session. But closing this session doesn't close our interactions with you. We will be in touch. The participant will be in touch. They can always shoot their questions on YouTube, which has been recorded, and it was live streaming, and then it will also, the recorded version will be available on our consulate's YouTube channel. The link is already there in chat, and we will also publish on our social media pages the shorter link where one can click and then can watch the interview. A cricketer to Rajnikant fan, and we would like to make people fan of yours. We wish that you are in such a position, then the new generation students who are coming over here, they already ask, feel that you are the mentor for them. You are the initiator of Indian Students in Germany portal, which is you partnered with our embassy, and there are a lot of students, and all our students in Germany. You are the first name they know when they come to Germany. So at this note, I think wherever I go next assignment because we diplomat can't stay at one place, I will look for another Bala Ramani. I wish that I get one. Otherwise, I will not leave you. And I wish if there are students, I will invite you to motivate them. If there's a diaspora, then I will also invite you to motivate them. Maybe we will somehow manage how I will make you come there at that place. So, and of course, we will also visit your place in Tamil Nadu, God willing. Until then, every participant, the person who helped, my colleagues from the consulate, Gulshan and Parminder, and everyone who helped this event happen, technical hand Raja, who supported all the way, all these meetings on Zoom, not only this our Wednesday series, but also other series also. He was always there to support us and be there from India. So everyone, and last but not least, Rajnish ji, thank you very much for agreeing to host, to moderate and host. Host is also right, but you are the host today. So this event, we will have to continue this series because we have to bring many more faces from the Indian diaspora or friends of India who have done their journey in such a way that which can motivate others. At this note, I close and
thank you very much, Raigar Saab, because I would like to take this opportunity also to personally thank you once more, because you mentioned in the beginning that it's probably your last public event, at least with Bala you said. So I'm presuming, I don't know, in December, I don't know if something is lined up. So thank you very much for introducing really innovative formats of interaction here with the consulate and along with all your colleagues. So it has been a wonderful initiative. It has been a wonderful settings in which we have been interviewing people and reaching out to people. So thank you very much to you. Thank you very much to Bala. Thank you very much to all the participants and everyone who supported. Have a nice evening.
Thanks very much, Rajnish Bhai. Thanks a lot, CG sir. It's been a great honor also. And yeah, we really hope to have very good participation from the great people coming up in the next sessions. And also, obviously, wherever you are, I have also promised you, God willing, I'll be there. And when you say, then there is no second word. You know that very well. And wherever I can contribute, that could make somebody motivated, inspired, all something that I'm always there, because at the end of the day, the whole humanity can only grow when we are together, and we have a lot to do, each and every one together. Thanks a lot, sir. And thank you very much for every one of you. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed from all over the world at this late time, late night. I mean, it's been, so I'm blessed. I'm blessed to know all of you, and you have been always been there. And this is something very special. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.